And I got my interest in a certain candidate, but I'm not gonna make this job about politics. I respect the tough decision that America has to make, and whichever way America goes, I'll figure out how to get on the same page. You bet, I'll support whoever's in office.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm tired of being disrespected. So there was no question I was gonna play this year.
We are now the Las Vegas Raiders.
Cassie Soto here for another episode of Vegas Nation Blitz. Thank you so much for joining us. The Raiders are now 4-3 after coming away with a win in Cleveland, a 16-6 win over the Browns. Our very own Vinny Bonsignor was their Raiders beat writer for the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Vinny, the autumn wind was pretty chilly up in Cleveland, and the Raiders, the cold weather usually gets to them, but it did not play a factor in this win for this team.
Yeah, I could vouch for how cold it was and how windy and rainy and wet and everything. There was actually some sunshine too. But I think Raider fans should be really happy with the fact that that their team was able to navigate through all the various weather issues, personnel issues, to figure out a way to win a tough ball game against a tough team. It's something that the Raiders, haven't been able to do enough of these last few years. But they certainly were able to take care of business in that way on Sunday, and that's something that they can build on. Obviously the passing game downfield wasn't there. It was just the wind was just crazy, so they had to figure out another way, and they were able to do that with that run game, ball possession. They doubled the Browns up on ball possession, time of possession, plays, yards, rushing yards. So it was a really good effort and something for the Raiders to be able to build on.
Well, aside from the win and the weather, Vinny, the next headline that came from this game was the fact that Trent Brown was hospitalized just minutes before this kickoff in Cleveland. Can you please explain what happened there with Trent Brown and the latest status update that you have?
Yeah, well, I got a text at almost 11 o'clock Cleveland time that Trent Brown was getting ready to play, and not even 10 minutes later, I get another text, he's out. So it was like fairly, startling for me, like what the heck just happened? Because that normally doesn't happen. And sure enough, as we ended up finding out, there was a mishap with an IV. Players do get IVs before games. It just gets the nutrients and everything that they need for energy. And something went wrong. So he immediately got rushed to the hospital, basically. And the next thing you know, the Raiders are trying to figure out, okay, who to play and how to set the lineup. And Sam Young, gets the starting nod at right tackle. But as he's been prone to do this year, he wasn't able to get through the game. That meant Brandon Parker, who basically woke up Sunday morning thinking he was going to be inactive, just rushed into duty against a pretty good Cleveland Browns defensive line and more than held his own. He kind of saved the day for the Raiders. So yeah, there was an issue with Trent Brown. The latest that we have right now is that he's out of the hospital in Cleveland, had to stay over Sunday night, and we'll see what his status is for next week against the Los Angeles Chargers.
Well, unfortunately, the injury list for the Raiders keeps growing now. You wrote an article for the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Fans can find that at vegasnation.com. Rookie Tanner Muse, this guy called himself a special teams war daddy. When the Raiders drafted him, I'm sure that got Raider Nation hyped, but now it looks like they'll have to wait another year to see this guy, this special teams war daddy, step on the field.
Yeah, and, we saw that, in training camp, he just didn't look right. He looked slow, basically, and I know he's not a slow player. That dude can burn it, and so something was obviously up, and as it turns out, there was a toe injury that he was dealing with. On Monday, he ended up undergoing surgery to get it fixed. That means he'll miss this season, but the good news is he should be ready to go in time for next year and everything that they're going to have. And for him, I think just getting physically right and getting the toe right and giving it another go next year, fully, injury free, and we'll be able to see what kind of player Tanner Muse really is. He's still a tremendous athlete and a tremendous prospect, and the future is still bright for him. He just needs to get his foot right.
A final one for you, Vinny. The Raiders have 3 AFC West games back to back to back. So how do you think the Raiders will come out of this stretch of games?
Well, they have to go 2-1. That's the bottom line. They have to beat, at the very least, go 2-1, and I think they're capable of doing that. But for them to be who they want to be, they've got to always stay ahead of the chains. It'd be great if they could go 3-1, or 3-0. But at the very least 2-1 to create a little bit of separation for themselves and other teams that they're dealing with in playoffs. That would be a good thing.
All right, we will see what happens here in the coming weeks, starting with this Sunday versus the Chargers. Vinny, thank you.
You got it. Have a good one, Cassie.
In other NFL news, San Francisco 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo and tight end George Kittle are expected to miss multiple weeks after suffering injuries Sunday against the Seahawks. The NFL suspended Chicago Bears receiver Javon Wims for 2 games for punching Saints defensive back C.J. Gardner-Johnson. And the New Orleans Saints have acquired linebacker Quan Alexander from the 49ers in exchange for linebacker Kiko Alonso and a conditional draft pick. Well, it's time to see what social media had to say about this big win for the Raiders. So here to give us some more is Las Vegas Review-Journal sports journalist Leandre Fox. Leandre, was anyone more hyped for this win than safety Jonathan Abram?
Not at all. And I think it's because he missed playing on his birthday due to COVID reasons. And now he's back on the field. Nice hype little win that they got over there in Cleveland. They said we can't win in the cold. All the ghosts that haunt Derek Carr and the Raiders as they journey into colder weather. And they get a big win over there in that grapple.
And we got to talk about this dance also. Can we give us a little preview here? I don't even know what he was doing. He was like hopping at some point. Tell me about this dance he was doing.
It looks like something I've seen at parties down south when I was in Florida and stuff like that. It's just a little hype win. I think he has our photographer Kevin Cannon beaten in the dancing category. I don't know. I might need to see them have a little dance off or something like that. Abram versus Cannon. I'm waiting for it.
Well, Dre, I don't know if you would have thought it. I didn't. That we would become here at Vegas Nation the go-to dance moves party here. There we go. Hit it. We got Ed Graney. We got Kevin Cannon. Everybody's dancing on Vegas Nation here. We love it. Well, final one for you here, Dre. For fans who don't know, some fans have made the comparison that Allegiant Stadium looks like a Roomba. And for those who don't know, a Roomba is that cleaning robot thing that goes on the floor, scares animals. You love to see it. Well, one fan on Twitter made a drawing where he cleaned up Cleveland with a Roomba.
My man, Draw Play Dave, coming through again. I love his cartoons. He has an incredible Twitter account. He made his predictions. He thought Cleveland would win. He said, if the Raiders win, I will draw Allegiant Stadium as a Roomba cleaning up Cleveland. And there it goes, cleaning it up, leaving a just win baby smart on Cleveland.
Awesome to see that there, Dre. Thank you so much for these social media updates. As always, hit me with the dance move one more time before we go to break. Well, for more of this party, this Vegas Nation party, be sure to stick with us here. We will be right back. Who holds the Raiders' record for receptions by a tight end? Is it A, Dave Casper, B, Raymond Chester, C, Todd Christensen, or D, Jared Cook?
Stay on the winning page with Fan Fave Las Vegas Review-Journal to receive Vegas Nation content, plus breaking news, local entertainment, and lifestyle coverage. For only 99 cents a week, you'll get home delivery plus unlimited access to LVRJ.com. However you like it, whenever you like it. Award-winning content, all at your fingertips. Subscribe today at mylvrj.com/superfan.
Our Vegas Nation podcast keep you up to date with all things Raiders. Get your week going with First and 10 on Mondays featuring Sam Gordon and Vinny Bonsignor.
Who you can count on to make a big play when you need one.
Wednesdays, Heidi Fang brings you in-depth interviews with Raiders players and personalities.
You know it's a great challenge.
On Fridays, get your dose of Raiders talk and musings from Ed Graney and Adam Hill with unsportsmanlike conduct.
Should there be any discipline? No. People are going to get it, and that's fine.
Vegas Nation, fast takes, smart coverage.
Welcome back into Vegas Nation Blitz. I'm your host, Cassie Soto. Joining us this week, as always, is the one, the only Las Vegas Review-Journal sports columnist, Ed Graney. Ed, you are back from Cleveland. So the first question I have to ask you, are you all warmed up now? You're back in Vegas. All that grapple, you got to leave that grapple behind. You don't have to worry about that here.
I wish I would have known about grapple because I would have used it in the column. I met the word of it. I grew up in the beach, so my grapple was 72 and overcast skies in June, everything else clear. But the weather was bad. Snow, hail, the wind was ridiculous in Cleveland. So, yeah, I mean, it was a good win just because of that. I mean, how they got through that weather, and it was both, the same for both sides. But for a team, and we know how poorly the Raiders have done going east and in cold weather, I thought that was a huge step for them to make, Cassie, that they could go and prove they could win a game like that in bad conditions.
Yeah, well, the final score, Ed, not the sexiest thing in the world, 16-6 win over the Browns there. But I think we do have to highlight here is the Raiders' run game. They finally put those pieces together, doubling that of the Browns' 208 to 101. And Josh Jacobs finally notching his first 100-yard rushing game of this season. What did you see those pieces really come together? Obviously, you mentioned the win, so there was not much through the air that they could do.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing I was thinking about the other day is like, look, and this is looking down the road, but if they do make the playoffs, let's say they make it as a wild card, they're probably going to have to go into cold weather, whether it's Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Buffalo. How do you win in cold weather? You run the ball. So I think, again, this gives them an extra boost of confidence that they can go into cold weather and run the ball, and that's how you win games like that. They were great at that. Gruden called a really, really good game. They kept it on the ground. We're going to talk about their defense and what happened there, but Josh Jacobs, it was very important for him to get back on, that kind of track. Even I don't know if he was doubting himself earlier in the week, but when he talked to us earlier in the week, I don't think he was the most confident I've ever seen Josh Jacobs. So then to go out and run for 130, whatever his final stats were, I think is a huge boost for him going forward this season.
How about Derek Carr also on the ground, getting his ground game going? I know Gruden and Josh Jacobs afterwards mentioned like slide. They didn't like seeing him run too much, but him finally putting that together, getting some extra yards, getting some necessary downs that this team needed to carry them to a win.
Derek Carr, sneaky athletic. We heard before the year they wanted him to run more. I don't know if they want him running in certain situations, but he is more athletic than people think. There's no question about that. I think he held his breath when he fumbled there on the one run because that has been an issue with him when he takes off running, but they were able to recover it. So, yeah, I mean, I'll say this. The last 2 weeks, one was a win, one was a loss. Every time he's run, it's been for something positive, like for a first down. The play call that Gruden called was wonderful when they got their last field goal, when he bootlegged them around to the right. No one expected he went for 18 yards. So if he can have those kind of runs, he really helps because at least the defense at that point has to at least keep an eye on him, and then that obviously would open things up for other people.
All right, well, moving on to the defense now. The Raiders' defense has been scrutinized just about every week. We're in week 9 now. Ed, what did you see come together there for the defense? John Gruden just a few weeks ago said, hey, we're going to make some major changes. What were those changes?
Well, they went into the laboratory and they mixed a bunch of stuff around. Arden Key was not active. I don't know how much that meant anything. I mean, look, they're still not a good defense. The weather helped them. We have to be honest here. The weather helped them. The Browns had a lot of key drops. But, again, when you walk out on the road and only give up 6 points, no touchdowns, to me that means you've done well defensively. They had a good game defensively. Now the point with them is can they carry it on? At the Chargers this week, young kid and Justin Herbert's playing really well, has a lot of great receivers. We'll see if they can carry it on. And if they can, more the better for them. I mean, they're going to have to play good defense to win in the end and get to the playoffs at some point. So I think that's a really good, again, we go back to the boost of confidence, but a lot of things happened in this game that hadn't been happening before that I think will help them down the road, and defense only giving up 6 points has to be one of those things.
Yeah, and final one for you here, Ed. A lot of talk coming after this game that this win really helps them when playoff implications start coming down the road. Do you see that to be true now that the Raiders have this win, this tiebreaker over the Browns?
I don't think there's any question. First of all, they now have head-to-head against Cleveland. They're going to get Miami later in the year, a couple days after Christmas here. That's another team they'll probably battle for. It's the extra wild card spot. I think that was a huge win playoff scenario. Look, if we accept that the Chiefs are probably going to win the division, then what? You're going for a wild card. Whether it's the first or second wild card, you're going to have to probably beat people head-to-head when it comes down to tiebreakers. So Cleveland, Miami, Indianapolis is coming up. They have a lot. The good thing for the Raiders is everything's in front of them. They've already got Cleveland, and other teams they might be battling for those wild card spots, they still get to play. And a couple of them they get to play in Allegiant Stadium. So, yeah, it might only be a 4-3 record, but that was a big win if you look forward in terms of playoff implications down the road.
All right, Ed. Well, appreciate your input as always. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Cass.
Once again, that was Las Vegas Review-Journal sports columnist Ed Graney. We will be right back after this quick break. The answer is C, Todd Christensen. Christensen caught 461 passes and was named first-team All-Pro twice in his career.
Welcome back to the Vegas Nation Blitz. It's your podcast host here, Heidi Fang, and I'm joined with our NFL writer, Adam Hill. We're going to break down what is going on here in the AFC West. What did you make of this week's performances from these teams?
Yeah, I mean, I think Kansas City was the one obviously everybody expected. Kansas City playing the Jets, the biggest point spread of the year, so the most expected victory of any team this season so far. And Kansas City gets the job done. Pat Mahomes, 5 touchdown passes, just doing Pat Mahomes things. So really nothing surprising there. The big news, I guess, in the division, besides the Raiders going on the road and getting a massive win in the wild card standings for the AFC, is the Chargers blowing another lead. 21-point lead they had in the third quarter. They were up 24-3. The Broncos got a quick touchdown right after the Chargers scored there, made it 24-10, and then outscored the Chargers 21-6 in the fourth quarter. That included the very last-second touchdown, very controversial touchdown after a pass interference, but the Chargers blow the game. And everybody's going to talk about the defense giving up that lead in the 31-30 loss, but again, it's the offense which was able to do anything they wanted for most of the game, taking their foot off the gas pedal in the fourth quarter, and that's where I thought the Chargers ran into some trouble. They allowed the Broncos to find some momentum, get back in the game, and I think they're going to regret that for a while because now, as much as we've talked about Justin Herbert with the stats and everything that he's done well, he's now 1-5 as a starter, and that's just not how you want to get going as a quarterback. But Justin Herbert, just 1 win in his 6 starts.
As we look ahead to Week 9, we have a pair of opponents facing NFC South opponents. Chiefs with the Panthers and Broncos head into Atlanta. So, Adam, which of these two contests, because we know what's going to happen between Raiders and Chargers here on the show, they're breaking that down. But the other two matchups, what do you make of those, and which one stands out to you?
Yeah, the Broncos are so inconsistent. I want to see how they perform, especially because Atlanta is a team that was looked at for so much of this year as just very disappointing, and they had no defense, and they were just finding ways to lose, much like the Chargers have. The defense has really come around the last couple of weeks. Since they made the coaching change, the Falcons' defense looks pretty good. That's a competitive team, so I want to see how they play and how the Broncos respond to that big comeback. And then, of course, anytime the Chiefs are playing, there's going to be offense, and with that Panthers passing attack, a lot of points in that game.
All right, there you have it from Adam Hill. Thanks for all that insight as always, Adam. And now stay tuned, everybody, as we check out a moment here in history with the Silver and Black as we reflect on Rich Gannon's quarterback career with the Raiders. Though Rich Gannon's NFL career started in 1987 with Minnesota, it wasn't until the early 2000s that he hit his peak while playing quarterback for the Raiders. The Delaware product was drafted in the 4th round in 1987 and played for 3 teams, including the Kansas City Chiefs, before landing with the Raiders in 1999. It was with the Raiders that he was a 4-time Pro Bowler between the years of 1999 to 2002. Gannon excelled under head coach John Gruden's play calling, and in his second season with the Silver and Black, the team would make the playoffs. Gannon would lead the Raiders into the playoffs for 3 consecutive seasons. In 2002, Rich Gannon had the best season of his career, for which he was named the NFL's MVP. And it was in that year that the team would meet their former coach John Gruden and his Buccaneers at Super Bowl 37. Gruden knew too much about the Raiders team that had not changed their play calls and could read Gannon and the offense too well. Gannon was picked off 5 times, with 3 of those interceptions being returned for touchdowns. The Raiders would lose the Super Bowl 48-21. In 2003, Rich Gannon injured his shoulder in Week 7 and was placed on injured reserve. He returned the following season under new coach Norv Turner, but in the 3rd game of the season, Gannon suffered a neck injury that forced him to spend the rest of the season on injured reserve. During the Raiders training camp in 2005, Gannon announced his retirement, noting that his body would no longer allow him to play the game. Gannon is still a broadcaster with CBS Sports. And that'll do it for this moment in Raiders history. We'll be back next week.
Vegas Nation Game Day, your weekly show where we preview this week's matchup.
There's just so much there to try to figure out. We'll hear what Tampa Bay quarterback Tom Brady has to say about playing the Raiders.
Live every Sunday morning at 9 a.m.
But I feel good.
Listen, come on, Arnett. Give it to me, baby.
Vegas Nation, fast takes, smart coverage.
Our Vegas Nation podcast keep you up to date with all things Raiders. Get your week going with First and 10 on Mondays featuring Sam Gordon and Vinny Bonsignore.
Who can count on to make a big play when you need one?
Wednesdays, Heidi Fang brings you in-depth interviews with Raiders players and personalities.
You know it's a great challenge.
On Fridays, get your dose of Raiders talk and musings from Ed Graney and Adam Hill with unsportsmanlike conduct.
Should there be any discipline? No. People are going to get it, and that's fine.
Vegas Nation, fast takes, smart coverage.
It's time now for our final segment of the show. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Cassie Soto here alongside Raiders beat writer for the Las Vegas Review-Journal, Sam Gordon. And Sam's got some numbers for us. Sam, go ahead and take it away.
Hey, Cassie. We talked last week going into the Browns game that Cleveland likes to run the ball. They were outstanding at it, third in the NFL up to that point with 157 yards per game. And frankly, this is a game, Cassie, because of the weather, because of the elements, where I think some of the counting stats do tell this story. On Sunday, the Browns are limited to 101 rushing yards. That is 56 yards below their average. And as a result, because of the weather, because of some of the things that were happening, they were not able to get that offense going. 6 possessions total for the game. That is a season low in the NFL this season. Raiders possessed the ball for 37 minutes and 43 seconds. That is a season high for them in any game. And finally, they're able to get Josh Jacobs going. They go for 208 rushing yards. The Raiders do as a team. That is far and away their most in any games of the season. So they kind of flip the script, right? You think the Browns, with their running game, with their offense, are built to kind of win games like that in that disgusting weather. And it was the Raiders who flipped the script, 208 rushing yards, limit the Browns to 101, and they win a 16-6 football game. Smash mouth. Old school football, Cassie, the kind of football we don't see very often these days in the NFL. So definitely an interesting game, and we'll see if the Raiders can build on that moving forward.
Yeah, Sam, it definitely wasn't a pretty win, but a win is a win, and the Raiders will look to extend that win streak this weekend against the AFC West Chargers. Can you give us a preview of some numbers there?
Yeah, just a little bit. We know about Justin Herbert, what he can do. He's having an outstanding rookie season. I'm sure we'll talk about him on the show this weekend. But the Chargers finally got their running game back on track as well on Sunday. They had struggled a little bit, but they go for a season-high 210 yards against the Denver Broncos. And they are averaging 136.7 yards per game now, which is 8th in the NFL. So they are a good team running the ball too. Not quite the Browns, not quite that output there, but still very effective. An interesting stat as well, kind of an uncanny stat, a stat you don't want to be associated with. The Chargers blew another big lead to Denver. They are now 0-3 when leading by 17 points or more this season. They have blown 3 17-point leads. The rest of the NFL, 52-4 when they're up by 17 or more. That's a winning percentage of 92.9. The Chargers, again, 0-3, winning percentage of 0. So a couple things there. Can the Raiders keep that running game in check? And then if the Chargers get a big lead, what are they going to do? We've seen they can't protect those. We will have more numbers for you this weekend on the show. Sunday, a big AFC West matchup, Cassie. I'm looking forward to it. I cannot wait.
Yeah, you mentioned the show, Sam, and we cannot wait to have you back in studio with us. That's 9 a.m. on Cox Your View, Channel 14. I know the fans love the energy that you bring. I love it. We all love it. Can't wait to be joined by you on Sunday, Sam.
Appreciate it, Cassie. See you Sunday.
For more fast takes and smart coverage, be sure to head on over to vegasnation.com or give us a follow on any of your favorite social media platforms. Again, we will be live this Sunday at 9 a.m. on Cox Your View Channel 14 for Vegas Nation Game Day. We'll give you everything you need to know for the Chargers-Raiders game this Sunday, again at 9 a.m. on Cox Your View Channel 14. For our Vegas Nation team, I'm Cassie Soto. We'll see you then.